accuracy. It's not a human. It doesn't look all that great.
Man, this show is terrible. What are we doing? What are you showing on the screen? You're showing some crap. What is this? Get it off here.
What do you mean? It's Sean Clifford.
Man. I apologize to anybody who. This is the worst start of a show I've ever seen. We're gonna have to cut this off when you go back in and edit it. Cut off the first 10 minutes because this is crap.
Cut it off.
This is complete crap.
We're
all
over
over
the
place.
From work. Well,
I got somebody making pasta over here. I got my phone going crazy over here. I got my face is all red. I just woke up a little while ago. I don't even know what the heck's going on. I'll be talking about we have no structure. This is the worst show of all time. We should start over. Cancel it and start over.
All right, screw it then. You know what? We'll just do this.
Wait. Now David says it's real. Okay, all right. We'll stay, David.
Welcome to the Pooh Show, hosted by Hafeman Bros. We're talking green and gold, headshot and go Pack Go.
Take two.
Hey,
we're back.
Restarting. What? Hey, new fire.
I'm tired. It was a long week, a long couple of days, long day today. But I'm Jordan Love ahead.
20-minute show today.
I'm excited to talk about Jordan Love. No, I'm not. I'm excited to talk about Sean Clifford because he's the best. He's terrible at quarterback drills, but he's awesome when he gets to play quarterback on the field. And that ball was into Malik Heath, and he looks super good. And everybody got fired up about it. And Malik Heath keeps making plays. And Goody had to talk about him this week because people asked about him, and he was like, well, for these guys, that's what makes shows better when I do my Goody impression. Well, for these guys, when they're young and they're undrafted, they don't get as many opportunities, so you got to make the most opportunities. He certainly made the most of his opportunities, so then you earn more opportunities. Bop, 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 bop. Well, great.
Yeah, so when you're a first-round pick and a second-round pick, you get to slack off and goof off and slack off, and you get 25,000 chances.
Yeah.
We all know that. Anyways, enough of that crap. We got to talk about what we know. Do we know anything about Sean Clifford other than one big play? No, because we didn't see any of that crap. Yes, apparently, Romeo Doubs had a good day. Apparently, Luke Musgrave had a good day. No clue. Couldn't see any of that shit. All we saw, pardon my language, all we saw was a big play to Sean Clifford. We saw a big play to Christian Watson. That was a 75-yard touchdown. We saw that. That was about it. We saw really bad kicking. We saw that too. But we'll get into all that. What we did see was the defense.
Saw the defense a lot.
So what was your takeaway from the defense? First and foremost,
my first
takeaway based on what we saw.
No matter whether it was first line or rotation guys coming in, there was consistent pressure on the quarterback.
Yes,
it
was from everywhere.
Yeah,
not just
from all over the place. Boom, this side, this in the middle,
right through the middle. Yep.
Everybody.
There was, I say, Brenton Cox. I think that's his name. Holy crap! He had a couple crazy pass rush moves. Like he got. Like whoever their left tackle or second string left tackle was, no chance. He just schooled that guy like 2 plays in a row. It was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And
maybe it says the Patriots line isn't that good. I don't know.
Well, they had two interior guys who were out, I guess. Okay. So they were thin on the old line. Yes.
Because Van Ness had a couple of pressures, so maybe it does mean they're kind of weak, but I don't know. Or maybe it means he's getting better. I don't know. All I know is JJ was going crazy, and Rashawn Gary's like, JJ, you're crazy. JJ, you're the man. JJ, you're crazy. Because Rashawn Gary isn't practicing yet. He was just standing on the side and doing some leg work and all this. And then he started yelling because JJ Enigbare is like destroying them all too.
Right.
So pass rush, number 1. I like it. All over the place. Everybody's rushing.
The other thing that was really cool, my favorite thing of the day, was Devontae Wyatt. Split a double team, did a crazy move, and got in the backfield within 1 millisecond to get the sack on Mac Jones. And after the play, Bill Belichick gave Devontae Wyatt the fist bump.
Damn.
Now, when I saw that, I almost fell. I was like, oh, whoa, Bill Belichick just gave Devontae Wyatt the fist bump?
Was that a five ring fist bump? Is that what it was?
No, that was a 6-ring fist bump.
Holy Get 6 fingers on his right hand.
He's just like in Princess Bride. But what I'm saying is, that's Devontae Wyatt, that I don't know if he realizes how important that is. That's pretty cool. Because Bill Belichick wasn't handing out fist bumps to everybody yesterday. We saw one Bill Belichick fist bump. It was to Devontae Wyatt on an inside pass rush move, and it was awesome. But then right after that, Devontae Wyatt had to come out of the game, out of the practice, and
he was so overwhelmed.
He was so overwhelmed. Yeah, he had to take a knee. He was kind of messed up for a while. Then they put him back in for one play later, and then he got tired again and he had to come down and sit. He was so out of shape, or something. Something was going on with him yesterday or Wednesday at practice where I don't know, but he had one awesome play.
Yeah, he was really good, and then but he was like in and out a lot, and then as soon as he hit the sideline, he was like on a knee.
Yeah,
and
nobody else
hot.
was.
It wasn't hot. Like nobody else is on a knee, and he stayed on his knee the whole time. You're kind of like, okay, so hopefully this is just a thing for today because you didn't drink enough water, or maybe you made some bad choices last night, or I don't know what you did. But
and as Dad knows, water is the key to health.
Yes, water makes your cells work properly. So drink your water, everybody, especially you down in the South, David, and you, Barry Hafeman, over in Green Bay, Wisconsin. So anyway, yes, that was a little concerning about Devontae Wyatt, but very cool moment as well. Bill Belichick giving you a fist bump, that's pretty damn cool for a guy who, is just going to is clear, Ben. That's another thing that jumped out at me. It's very clear. Devontae Wyatt is going to get many, like last year he didn't get many opportunities. This year he's going to get many opportunities to perform as long as he can stay on the field and be in good enough shape. He's going to get the opportunities. So he could have a breakout monster season as long as he's in good enough condition for it. Let's hope he gets there.
Well, he was a guy I liked last year. So he's the type of thing where I'm excited. I'm ready for him to see it. I'm a little concerned that he, got a little tired after a couple plays because there'd be if the opposing offense decides to go up tempo, he's not coming out of the game, and that could be bad news. Because if he's tired and he's sucking wind, he can't be taking a knee in the middle of the game. And a smart team will realize it and just go up tempo and just run right at him, and maybe he'll be out of the play and we'll be in big trouble. But
my hope is this. My hope is that he, like Jason Eckes, substituted beer for water the night before, and so then drank way too much beer and not enough water, and he was just dehydrated at that practice. And normally that's not the case. That's my hope for Devontae Wyatt, because I think he could do it. Hey, Eckes, how you doing? So anyway, pass rush was great from a lot of places, which was awesome to see. Also from the defense, I saw some communication. Let's just say that. We saw communication, and that's sometimes in recent years, many years, has been a problem, right? It seemed like people didn't know what they were doing and who was doing what and what's doing who. And so we saw mostly Rasul was taking the lead on that to tell guys what to do or what not to do. But that was good. At least somebody's taking charge out there and telling guys, what the hell is going on. So that was good to see. Right? Did you notice that?
I did not really notice much about that. I mean, Rasul was way on the other side of the field for most of the practice.
He told one guy, he's like, get over there. And then some other
he lined up. That was Jean Charles, we all know, or whatever, Jean, whatever his name is. I can't remember. 22. Whatever his name is. He stinks. Even though Rasul was working with him again the other day, apparently, because that's what he said in his interview. Somebody asked him about it. Yeah. Well, he was working with him last summer, too. And it didn't do any better. So I don't know what Rasul can tell him anymore, because apparently it's not working. Even though Rasul thinks he's a good player. He's like, he's a good player.
He good. He just got to,
yeah.
Well, you got to say that about your teammates anyway sometimes. Right.
You got to say that. What I was impressed with, the other thing I liked, well, first of all, there was an injury. When the practices, when the guys first came out, there were 7 safeties. There were 8 or 9 corners. There was like 11 pass rush / outside linebacker, defensive end / pass rushers, which is way too many when you only have 2 on the field at one time. I don't know why we have so many of those guys. And there was probably like 9 or 10 defensive linemen in the drills. And then only over in the corner, there were 4 linebackers. 4. I just hold up 3 fingers. 4 linebackers. That was it. Carpenter was hurt in shorts, and Devondre Campbell was nowhere to be seen. Now we find out later, a couple of days later, people who are in the know, Devondre Campbell has got a walking boot and a scooter in his locker.
No,
But he's not there. So I don't know if that's just there to psych people out or what. But he wasn't at practice Wednesday, and he wasn't at practice Thursday. So we don't know what's going on. But what I will say is this. Quay Walker.
Said he's not concerned. Goody said he's not concerned.
Goody said he's not concerned, yes.
It shouldn't be a long term.
But what I will say is this. Quay Walker and McDuffie in the practice did a very nice, like McDuffie does a great job of sifting through crap and getting in the hole and like plug it up on run plays and stuff. And there was one time, it was really cool, where Quay Walker was in coverage. It looked like a swing pass, and Mac Jones should not have thrown the ball over there, because if he would have, Quay Walker, it was right in front of us. It was awesome. Quay Walker would have he was ready to smack the crap out of him. Obviously, he can't because it's practice. So he was ready. He was like, and then he's just stopped. But it was like, wow, that he would have just knocked the ball would have been knocked out of his hands. Just like we saw in the video we showed a couple weeks ago, where every time, when Hawkinson caught the pass and then Quay Walker smacked the crap out of him and he dropped it, would have been the same thing. So Quay Walker in coverage, the thing I love about Quay Walker in coverage is he attacks and he hits right when the ball gets there, or like right after, right? So he's not going to get a penalty for coming in early. And then when he does make contact, it's hard and he hits hard, and the guys drop balls. And that would have happened again in this practice because he was there ready to smack. He has a violent, aggressive smack, just like that. Smack. And he showed it almost because he couldn't do it in practice. But
right, like I guess.
But it was right in front of us, and it was beautiful. I mean, it was like, whoa, that guy would have been toast. Even like a couple other fans around us were all like, oh yeah, that guy had no chance. He would have been destroyed. Yeah.
That guy, right? That guy wouldn't have liked his quarterback much because he led him right into a light up moment. Like he would have been totally lit up. You're right. That was pretty damn cool too. It wasn't all good. We gotta say that. The safety situation is still very concerning, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they clearly are just trying. It's like they're throwing darts at the wall or pickles at the window right now. Pickle slices at the window right now.
Billy Madison.
It's rough, dude. They do not know they really don't know who and unfortunately they keep thinking Darnell Savage is a starting safety, but so it's even more confusing because he's clearly not. And then they're just trying everything, and it's just, somebody's got to step up in that safety room. What an opportunity for somebody, Damn, if they could just step up and be good, they could take charge. Bill Huber today asked Goody about the safety stuff and about trying different things and all this, and he's like, well, I mean, Adrian was just so solid there for so many years. I'm like, really? Was he that solid? Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Bill Huber. The point is, why don't you guys know what the hell you're doing at safety? What's up, man? That's the question you should have asked in that form.
Yeah, I mean, they're not, I don't know. They don't value it. They don't value the position, and it's obvious. And for the longest time, they didn't value inside linebacker. And now we see what happens when they do value inside linebacker. The guy actually could do some stuff, right? So the bottom line is this. The last two times he won a Super Bowl, we had dynamic all-pro type safeties wearing number 36.
That's fair.
I mean, and that's when we won the Super Bowls. So what does that tell you? I think we need to start. We also had, of course, really good cornerbacks, and we had, pass rush, and we had D-line. We had a good defense. We had number one. It turned into some John Madden there. But I mean, you know what I mean? It's like that was pretty. We need all positions to be solid. But the thing about safety is, it's the one position on the field where either nothing happens or everything happens. Like, there are plays where the safeties do nothing on because it's a running play and it gets stopped right away or whatever, right? There's plays where it's a passing play and it's a short pass and they get tackled right away. So you have to have a guy. It's kind of like playing like outfield in Little League. When you're a Little League kid and there's the kids who aren't good or they don't care and they stick them out in right field. I can remember when we were kids, Little League, there was a guy, sitting down. I played second base. There was a guy sitting down behind me in right field, like just sitting there on the ground.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I couldn't let a ball get past me because I knew the guy behind me was terrible. So I was like, oh, man. So you remember when I played second base? I was like rangy. I got everywhere. I got every ball I could. Now,
You had a big glove.
Yeah, I did. I used Grandpa's glove, and it was 3 times the size of a normal little kid should be using, but it went out like this far. It was awesome. So anyways, but I had to I knew if the ball got past me, we're screwed. So I never let a ball get past me. But that's the kind of thing. We don't need guys out there who are going to sit down and fall asleep back there. They got to always be aware because anything could happen at any time. And it's the guys that are smart and able to, and they need to, first of all, they need to study. They need to be aggressive, and they need to be quick-witted and be able to adjust and see what's happening and then go and make a decision. You can't be passive. You can't not make the decision. If you're wrong, you're wrong, but at least if you're right, you'll make plays, right? And right now we don't have a guy like that.
Right. You are describing everything that Darnell Savage is not.
Yeah.
Basically.
Well, he's fast. He's fast.
He is fast. But you're right. Like, safety is a really cool spot because, yes, you sometimes have, that you're in that position where you got to be your role or your job on the play might be maintaining the deepest leverage and all this sort of stuff. But a lot of times, safeties don't have a specific person to cover. They don't have a specific guy even blocking them, right? So it is a position that is ripe to make plays from if you are aware and aggressive and you just go for it. You see it and you go for it. You see it in attack, So those are the kind of safeties you need. Those are the kind of safeties we don't really have. Rudy Ford was playing like that last year. I hope he can regain some of that because he's the only guy I see right now that kind of has played like that that's on the Packers. And I'm sorry, Bill Humer, but Adrian Amos did not play that way either. He didn't. He played passive and then ended up being safe and passive. And I don't want a safe and passive safety. I want an aggressive safety because those are the guys that do some stuff and make plays and change the game. So that's got to get figured out. Right now they're not going to bring anybody else. And you just said there's 7 safeties out there, 8 however many freaking safeties they got on the team. History would tell you, hopefully, because of the track record of the number 36, that Anthony Johnson Jr. could be the guy maybe that's going to turn around and, get some of that 36 juju and mojo going. But he hasn't shown it yet either. So I don't know. It's concerning. That's the biggest concern at this point.
Well, he was out there with the 2s and with the 1s, on a couple plays for a while on Wednesday. But then on Thursday, apparently he wasn't out there at all with the 2s or the 1s. He was only with the 3s. So whatever happened, maybe they just wanted to throw him out there, see what was up. I don't know. And also I have to apologize to Moore, Tredavious or whatever the heck his name is, Moore. I just really went after him after the game the other day.
You did.
And I'm sorry. Apparently, I wasn't looking straight. It must have been 34. It must have been Owens. Owens must have been stinky and up the joint because PFF and both Eddie Herman and PFF gave Moore a good grade. So maybe I just know on the big run, he was the guy trailing on that. And then when you watch it back again, he came from the other side of the field. Now, he did come down way too far and then had on the wrong side of the field and totally didn't read that it was a run to the other side. So that's something. I mean, hello. And then my other question would be, if you're that guy and you're the last line of defense who's supposed to chase after him and go back up, why are you way down the line of scrimmage? And where the hell was the other safety on that play? That running back got that far downfield and we needed Valentine to tackle him at corner, chasing him down.
Right.
I mean, there should have been another safety back there who's supposed to come over and cross it off, right? I don't know. I have to watch the film again. That was the one where Van Ness got, the right tackle. He beat the right tackle, but then he didn't quite get his arm on the guy enough, and the tight end came through and got a seal block, and then that guy was gone. Anyways, that was in the game. That was in the game against the Bengals. We're talking about practice, but the defense is iffy with safety, and it will be. Right. And I don't know. I mean, they talked to Rasul this week about hey, and then Rasul's like, oh well, just so you know, according to Rasul, he's the starting safety. Or whatever, he was laughing it up like he's going to be the starting safety. Well,
no, he said he's not going to be safety.
Oh, he's not the starting safety. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I don't know if he would consider it, or
I don't think he wants to. But the other thing is, what are they going to like? Here's the thing: if you have a guy And Valentine, who's making plays and he's aggressive and he's tackling and he's covering, like, I hate to say it, but Rasul, if the pressure doesn't get there, Rasul will get beat deep. He doesn't have the speed to keep up with guys deep. He's great when the quarterback has only 2 seconds to make a decision and make a play because he's and the pressure gets to him because Rasul's got his eyes on the corner or on the quarterback, and he makes plays. He sees what's happening. He can read the play ahead of time. He adjusts the things. He's smart, but he's not fast. So if the pressure doesn't get there and it's a go route, he's beat. Period. Like it happened on practice on Wednesday. He got beat.
He made plays
on a 50-yard touchdown.
He made plays though too. He had like 2 pass breakups and thought they should have been picks. I don't know. I thought the one was not really one he could have picked off.
No, I don't think so either. It was way too low. There was one that was way too low out to the ground too, where I don't know. Yeah. But he thought he should have 2 picks. I don't know. He was doing push-ups after, but
yeah,
because he's awesome. But I don't know. Those are just the takeaways I would say from the practice were safety. There are a lot of times where receivers were open deep, but the pressure was there so fast that the balls were not accurate. Like Mac Jones did not look good, and Bailey Zappi wasn't hitting. The deep shots were not there, even though the receivers were open deep. Even against the first team, nothing was completed at all in the ones versus ones with the Patriots offense against Packers defense. Nothing was completed deep, where at least the Packers had a couple deep passes completed on their end. And the other thing was there was a red zone drill. The Packers did a great job in the red zone drill, except for one play where there was a quick slant on Jair where Mac Jones drilled it in there and it was caught. And then Jair claims that he knocked it out of the guy's hand, and then the official said no catch. But I don't know. From my angle, it was a catch and it was a touchdown. But of course, then Jair went crazy and did the high five and a smack a whack and whatever with Rasul and did the pump and the smack and the pump. So they were all fired up thinking it was a breakup, but he didn't cover the guy great because it should have been a catch and a touchdown. But whatever, we'll give it to Jair because I guess the official did. So that's something.
We'll take those from officials during the regular season too in the playoffs. I mean, that's fine. But
by all accounts, Thursday they gave up a little more plays. Like Rasul gave up that big deep pass, which did not happen on Wednesday at all. None of it happened. Mm-hmm. So they were a little rustier on the second day. But the other thing that's interesting too is when you hear the reports that the Packers offense did fairly decent on Wednesday, and then Thursday they just got smacked around and not look good. And it's probably because on the first day, I'm wondering if Bill Belichick was watching the first team defense on the second day.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because the first day he was over by us.
Yeah, by the
offense. Watching the Patriots offense and watching them go. And then I'm assuming he went and watched some tape and whatever. And then because the second day, apparently they just went crazy. Like the Patriots defense was like stifling and all this kind of stuff. So it was a total different. So Bill Belichick watched the tape, figured it out, came in the next day and said, "Hey, I'm going to show you some stuff, Matt LaFleur. Look out." And he did some crazy adjusting and blitzing. And, they show one thing and then they come out of it and switch it all around, which is, something Aaron Rodgers could never figure out even after 18 years in the league. So, I mean, how do you expect the guy who only has one start in his life to be able to figure that out? I don't know. But that's something interesting. And he didn't have 2 consecutive days in a row, which is what David's talking about. He's like, what bothers me is the fact that Love's not consistent, he says. And, if we switch to the offense now, that's true. What the thing that's really important to me, and I keep hearing from a lot of the reporters I trust, right? And even from like Rasul Douglas and other guys in practice, they say, and in the games, they say that Jordan Love and even like guys like Dan Orlovsky, who usually is a ding dong, but they say that they say that Jordan Love makes the right decision. Like the ball goes where it's supposed to go more often than not. Sometimes he's not accurate. That's the problem, David. Like you say, he's inconsistent. That is a problem. And sometimes his balls are wonky, right? But his decision making is very good. And as long as that happens, then we're pretty good. But the other thing that keeps being brought up is the fact that there'll be one play where Jordan Love makes a great pass, but then Musgrave drops it in practice. or Christian Watson drops it. Like he didn't get his hands up or to look for the ball, even though it was like a perfect pass from Jordan Love. But then there'll be another time where Jordan Love or Christian Watson just schools the guy that's covering him, and he's deep downfield, and then Love airmails it. You know, so it's like they can't ever seem to get on the same page. Like, it's not they can't ever, but I mean, it seems like it's about like 35% of the time, one of the guys is off. Either the throw's off, or the guy's dropping the perfect pass, or he's not looking for the ball, or something. You know what I'm saying? And those are all things that lead to that inconsistency. And if the quarterback's inconsistent, and his receivers are inconsistent, and they're not consistent at the same times, right? Like, well, maybe one guy's good and then the other guy stinks. You know, that's where you could see it being an issue for the season, because big plays will be there, and half of the connection is working, and the other half isn't working. And I totally expect that for the first couple of weeks, right?
Yeah.
But I'm thinking by halfway through the year, like my thought is that they're going to be on top of stuff, and it's going to be awesome. Now,
but you also have to expect, because you've talked a long time here, and I've interrupted you for a while. So
okay, go ahead. Talk.
You also have to expect that then they're, because in practice it's hard to work on running plays, so they don't really do that many running plays usually. So you also have to expect that then this team would just run the ball more, and that's what I do expect from them, that they'll try to run the ball more, and then do some more things off of that run action, a lot more play action. It's not like they were doing. It's not like they were doing play action passes in what we saw either. They were doing a lot of just, shotgun stuff, working on those type of things, like straight up passes. You knew it was going to be a pass, that type of stuff. So it's practice. That's the other thing to think about. Eckes is talking about, sounds like they got clobbered and, in Thursday's practice and a bunch of facets, but he doesn't care, with the youth to be expected. Interesting to see how they react tomorrow, and also just kind of see how they come along during the season. That's the other part. Now, I wanted to say this, but then you jumped into offense, which was just remember about Rasul. If he doesn't want to go to safety, just remember Clay Matthews didn't want to play inside linebacker either when they needed him to, and he did, and it was awesome. So, Sully, just remember that if we need you at safety because our safeties stink so bad, just go do it and be awesome. Also, you don't have to be as fast at safety sometimes. So. Anyway, I'm excited. Like, I think with Love, I mean, you have to expect some of the inconsistency. I wish his ball would be a little more accurate. But Ben, like you said, all these people are commenting that the balls go. He's making the right reads. He's making the right decisions. He's making the right reads, and that's very different than what we've seen. We for the last couple of years in particular, we saw a lot of Aaron Rodgers determining before the snap of the ball where he was going to throw it. You heard inside stuff from players on the team. He saw Devontae was double or triple team, and he's like, I'm just going to throw it over there anyway. That's not the right play for the quarterback. So to have the quarterback making the right decisions and putting the ball where it's supposed to go, or to the most open guy all the time, that generally is going to lead to more consistent success, even if he's a little inconsistent with his accuracy, right?
Well, the thing that concerns me is just if we will find out. I believe the team will come together and it'll be better halfway through the year. And the only way that's not going to work is if the talent's just not there. Like, inconsistency is one thing, but if you're not hitting the right throws, if you're not, like making the good decision is the start of everything is making the right decision, which we have, which is good. Like, that's the Jordan Love, right? As far as we know, everybody's saying that's where it's at. And if he cannot get beyond that point of his accuracy and making out the right reads and throws with accuracy, then it won't get any better. And what if guys can't catch? Like, Christian Watson's still dropping balls. Devontae Adams had his worst season. Devontae Adams' worst year was the second year he kept dropping balls.
Yeah, it's true.
And another guy with iffy hands. So the inconsistency is not just Love; it's throughout the whole offense. And the only thing I would say about the running game that you were talking about is going to help out. This offensive line is not built for a running game. They're all better. They're all good pass blockers. Well, Zach Tom, Bakhtiari, El Jenkins.
Yeah.
Runyon is a former offensive tackle in college who plays guard. Does he look like a great run blocker?
Nobody's smart, and he knows what he's doing.
Okay, that's fine. But what I'm saying is this. The strength of the offensive line is pass protection. So what we need is Jordan Love to stop throwing wobblers and stop airmailing crap. Set your feet. If you look a guy off, look back before you throw it. We don't need any freaking no-look passes like he tried against the, Bengals and he overshot Musgrave because he wasn't looking when he threw it. We don't need that crap. Be smart. That linebacker, once the linebacker was flat-footed and Musgrave was in line with him, that's when you can look back because there's no way that guy's going to be able to adjust and get back. And then you throw it way out there. There's plenty of room to throw that ball for Musgrave to catch it. And he just wanted to be fancy or, maybe he did it in practice. Well, okay. In a real game, just like everything else, when we were in Statesman, I used to say too, or Innocent Men or whatever, when you're in rehearsal, then you try to sing stuff. You try to go full voice on this crap. But when you go to a performance, if you can't hit it every time, then you got to falsetto it and be a wuss. That's just the way it works. Eckes knows about that, singing like a wuss. Oh, hey! No, I'm just kidding. But anyways, so that's all I'm saying. So, and that's the other thing that's really important here, David, is Matt LaFleur will see in every practice, in every game, and Jordan Love will see, well, what are the things that he is consistent on? And then we'll work on those things at the start of the game, right? Get him comfortable, and then as the season goes on, as he gets more comfortable with other things, then maybe we'll be able to have Love, do different things. But I don't think they're going to just throw him out there and be like, oh, you're inconsistent on this throw in practice. You hit it one day, you don't hit it the next day. Well, we're not going to call that play in the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm assuming they're going to make him do it a bunch of times and prove that he can do it before they start calling it in a game. In preseason, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Practice, that's what practice is for, to try out these things. Goody even mentioned it today in his press conference. Eckes here next week, 7-piece nugget superstar should open your show. Wow. I don't know. Maybe, man, if I can find it somewhere in the relics archives. But Goody mentioned it during his press conference with some of the switching they've been doing, because he got asked about that, different guys at different spots and center and the other things. And he said some of the things they wanted to do was just put these guys in these positions, maybe with very little notice, or things that they don't know whether they've done well before or not, and see how they react. And so that's some of the stuff you do too with probably Jordan Love, to like, okay, let's call this and see how it goes and see what it looks like. So you are like, that's part of what this stage of practice is for. Experimenting, figuring some things out, and like you said, kind of honing in, and they will. I mean, and it's different too, because when you get to the regular season, you prepare that week for this opponent, right? So you're building plays. Hopefully, this is the way it works. You're studying that opponent. You know the kind of defenses they play. You know the plays that you have that work against those defenses, and you work on those plays. And then you also understand what your players are good at and what they're not good at, and then you build your menu from that bit of information. So hopefully that's what they're doing. And then it's different, for that week versus training camp and some of this stuff and the way they've been doing it. So it is different. Try not to read too much into some of the stuff, but also understand that there are some things that we're seeing that will give you indicators of how things could go. And that's why one of the things that is encouraging is, seeing so many guys getting a good pass rush. And also one of the things that's concerning is seeing how mushy the Packers' inside offensive line is, and that's a little sketchy. So, that's stuff that's got to get worked out. Hopefully, Joshy Myers was in again at the start with the ones, but then I think they did switch guys in and out after a little bit too. So he definitely does not have the job, but I don't know. There's a lot of things to kind of shake out. And they always say the best 5 thing, but we'll see.
Well, Bakhtiari was back in practice yesterday.
Yep.
For the first time in like a week. And the starting five was him, Jenkins, Josh Myers, Runyon, and Zach Tom. So and that's kind of where it's been, right? I think that's what they want as a team, is for that to be the starting five, because unlike the undrafted guys who only get one chance to prove that they can do it, second round picks like Josh Myers get a 75,000 chances to prove that they can do it and then still not do it. And then whatever. But the thing that's interesting to me also is picked up this week has been the David Bakhtiari to the Jets talk has been picked up. There's been a lot of articles about it. There's been little snippets, Aaron Rodgers talking about it. And today, Goody said straight up, we are not trading David Bakhtiari. We're not trading David Bakhtiari. And the last time he said we're not trading a guy was when Aaron Rodgers wanted to be traded in 2021. And he said, we're not trading Aaron Rodgers. We're not trading Aaron Rodgers. And they didn't trade him. And there was the whole summer of discontent. And then he showed up and had his big, long press conference. And they had to trade for Randall Cobb. And the whole mess started. Had they just traded Aaron Rodgers then, we wouldn't have to deal with all this crap we had to deal with for the last 2 seasons. And that's why I say, just trade him now. Then we don't have to deal with the crap right now. The guy doesn't practice half the time. I don't care. He gets out there. Andy Herman said he just walks out and he still plays like it's no big deal. Like he's like riding a bike because he's the man. And he is good. He's a great player. But he is not in on this team. His comments are not all about the team. His loyalty to Rodgers is still more important to him than the team that he's on. So he doesn't talk up Jordan Love. I mean, either he'll say, oh yeah, first ballot Hall of Famer, jokingly, right?
Yeah, that's stupid.
So like, how can you, like, if you were Jordan Love, how could you play quarterback right now on this team when your left tackle isn't really behind you? Because he's not. So I don't know. And Goody says he's not going to trade him. And whatever. I know he's a great player when he's out there, but the guy stole money from us for years after he got hurt. I mean, he just stole money.
He's gotten a lot of money.
He's still stealing money for not doing anything.
Yeah.
And
he might work. He might work a total of maybe like 30, 35, 40 days this year for all that money. If
I don't know.
Listen. I don't know.
And I'm not saying I don't like him or he's not a good player. But let's look at what's going on here with this team. Let's be honest.
His run blocking's not that great.
No, it's not. But like nobody's on like I just said that. The Packers offense is not a run blocking unit. It's a pass blocking unit. And that's fine. The team is changing. The team is changing into something different. It's a play. This year.
Josh Myers is not a pass.
He's not at anything.
Center.
He's not at anything.
He's definitely not a pass blocking center.
He's a fall on the ground and old man knees and takes 25 years to get up. I think I could get up faster than him, and I'm old, so whatever. But the bottom line is this. I thought in the offseason I was optimistic that they could win 16 games.
You were? I know.
And only lose to my guy Justin Herbert and the Chargers. I thought that was going to be their one loss. And it's pretty insane that I said that. But I had confidence. I had confidence in LaFleur. I had confidence in the talent around these guys. Now that we've seen him more, the inconsistencies David brings up, the fact that you've got guys like Bakhtiari who aren't really sold on the team, and they have no clue what they're doing at safety, are all things that concern me a great deal. But the biggest concern is kicker at this point. The guy's inconsistent as hell. So here's the question. I don't have a problem with them if this is like, this is a rebuild year. David Bakhtiari said it was a rebuild year and they were going to stink. And he said they, even though he's on the team. So he should have said we, which means he's not in, as I've said many times. Maybe he was right all along. And maybe us Packer fans need to realize, hey, this team, it's a bunch of young dudes that need to work together to figure stuff out. And it's going to be a lost season again. Last year was a lost season because Rodgers derailed everything and blamed everybody and played like dog crap and then said everybody else sucked. And now this year's going to be a lost season because we have too much inconsistencies with the young players. I don't know. My hope is that they're so talented and stuff just starts to fit and they start to become consistent. And it doesn't matter that the kicker stinks. Or can't hit stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like they blow everybody out so much that it doesn't matter. And then that leads to the pass rush, which is what we're supposed to be good at, and it's been shown in practice. They're getting penetration, right? And in the corners, we got a bunch of good corners. I mean, holy crap! Like it'll all come together if we can get the big plays, if we can be explosive on offense, if we can take chances and not be afraid to make mistakes, because the young guys will make mistakes. So there is positive there if it all works out. But that's a lot of if, and ifs, and buts, and buts, and buts. And that's the thing that's concerning to me is I don't want to wait till week 10, David. Because if they wait till week 10, I don't know if they can come back and do anything and have it, be a playoff team.
Well,
even in a weak NFC.
He said by that time we'll know. And that's true.
I want to know before that.
Well,
I want to know by week 5.
Well,
coming out of the bye week in weeks, I think they have a week 6 bye week.
That was the other thing that stuck out, which is your last thing you brought up, which is the kickers' inconsistencies. And Goody was asked about it, and he talked about how
Mason Crosby
you got to have some patience, and you got to stick with a guy. And he talked about how Ted showed patience with Mason a couple of times, and that time Eckes jinxed him in Detroit or whatever.
Way to go, Eckes!
Way to go, Eckes! Nice work. And then the other time where he just had a really rough year. And it is true. Like, you could have gotten rid of him then, and maybe you got on this carousel like a lot of teams do, and there is sort of something to that. But he did also acknowledge that we have to have patience, but we also need performance. There's going to come a time where if this isn't figured out, then we're going to have to figure something else out and move on.
Well, so, put Lee's comment on there.
I don't know, man. Which one?
The last one.
All right, I'm getting to it.
You'd rather have Crosby for short field goals and extra points.
That's what Dad said too.
And I don't disagree with that. Might be a good plan. But what will that do to the psyche of Carlson? Would it mess his brain up? Because we had to bring the old fart in to kick the easy stuff because he can't even make easy kicks. And then he only gets the chance at stuff that's longer than 45 yards. I don't know.
We came up with a different solution that we witnessed at practice.
Oh, yeah.
Orchestrated trade for the Patriots rookie kicker that they drafted in the 4th round, because that dude just kicked the hell out of the ball. And he was kicking it 10 yards further than Carlson, and he was accurate.
Yeah, he looked
like
good.
That. He was insane, and he's a little guy. He's like 6 feet, 195, and he from Maryland. He was kicking the hell out of the ball.
Well, I'll say this. I have a Patriots fan I work with at work, and he said that during the first preseason game that dude was missing kicks.
Oh, keep missing him because we'll take it.
So he was missing him in the game.
That's fine. We'll keep doing it because then Belichick can cut you and go with the old guy who can't kick far, and we'll take you.
The only thing I would say about Lee's comment is if you do that sort of thing with Crosby, that's another spot on the roster, taking up spots. Another spot on the active game roster because you'd have to have him and Carlson because you have to have one of them. You have to have the other one for the long kick.
Carlson is out. Carlson's out. He says he's out, man.
I think we got to listen. We got to give him a chance.
Yeah, they're not going to give up on a 6th round. A kicker they put a pick on in his first season, they're not going to give up on him already.
I want to talk about another thing really important too.
All right.
I've been listening to a lot of Wilde and Tausch lately. Though Tausch has been on vacation. He's been on vacation for a week and a half. Come back, please, because I'm sick of these other guys. They bring Brian Bulaga and some other yahoos on there.
Bulaga.
He was actually pretty good last time he was on, but now they've got guys I don't know who they are. Today they had a punter on from somewhere. I never heard of him. He was probably a Badger or something. They bring on former Badgers.
Football players. I'm just kidding.
They bring on former Badgers a lot. There was a Badger linebacker on there the other day. But anyways, Wilde has been just going nuts about the whole Mercedes Lewis thing all week long, ever since he signed with the Bears.
Yeah, he loves Mercedes Lewis.
And
Wilde
today
totally buys into the fact that he was like another tackle, Ben. He's great.
Yeah.
Best blocking tight end.
Well, Wilde is convinced that LaFleur and Goody are not on the same page as far as the roster goes with this whole upheaval of changing to the young team and going from, the veteran team to the young and development team. And so Goody or Jason Wilde is 100% thinking that's the case. And So he's been just talking about it nonstop on this radio show. Today he talked to Goody, and he brought up Mercedes Lewis again. And Goody looked annoyed, at the very least annoyed. And Goody's answer today was awesome. I wish I could find it. Maybe I should go find it and play it exactly. Maybe I'll do that. But it was pretty much, he said, hey, last year we had a bunch of guys on this team who are veterans, and it wasn't good enough.
Yep.
That's what he said. And he said, so this year we're trying to get better. That's the point. The point is to win Super Bowls. That's what it is to be a Packer. Packers are here to win. Period. And he said, last year wasn't good enough. And we had a bunch of guys who are aging veterans. He didn't say that part. I'm adding that part. But that's obviously what it was. And he decided to move on from all of those aging veterans because last year wasn't good enough. And for the last 3 years, he's pushed money into the future to keep these aging veterans on the team to make runs. And every year it's fallen apart at the very end. And last year was a complete disaster. Mostly because I think they kind of did half and half. They did the rebuild with the young receivers and then still tried to keep all these old farts at other positions, and it just didn't work, right? They were 8-8 team or 8-9 because of it. Now they should have been a 9-8 team at least if Rodgers didn't throw 3 picks against the Lions in Detroit. And then that last game wouldn't even matter anyways because the Packers would have been in the playoffs. They could have lost that game. But anyways, we're not going to get into that. But Goody then said, this is the point is right now we are trying to get better. And to get better, we're taking young, talented players. They let players go that they knew they couldn't get value for in trade. And they traded the guys who are superstars to get picks over the last 2 years in Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers. And they've gotten picks and they've gotten stars and they've gotten players that are key contributors to this team in Christian Watson, Devontae Wyatt, Walker, Musgrave, Reed. Those are all picks that are either, first round picks from the Raiders, from the Jets, also for us, that are there to build the team, to become a better team. You get talent and you become better. And that's what they're doing. And it's going to be, like I said earlier, it's going to be, like, and David has said too, it's going to be inconsistent. We're going to have some issues. The kicker, this is another spot, same thing. They're doing it all. This year is going to be rough, or it could be awesome, but we don't know. And that's the point. The thing that's so cool about this is this. Mason Crosby, Mercedes Lewis, Adrian Amos, Al Lazard, Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, Robert Tonyan, Zadarius Smith, Billy Turner. They were what they were. Every season we got what they were from that season or less continuously every year. Except for when Rodgers took over the team and just threw to Devontae over and over and over. So that those two guys had great numbers and the rest of the team suffered. But nobody talked about that other than us. That's fine. But it hurt the team. And now we have guys that are young, ready to go, ready to learn, hungry, want to attack and play harder, and they will make mistakes, and they will have snafus and screw-ups and stuff. But you know what will happen? They will get better. And throughout the season, their trajectory will go up. Their play will go up. Their talent will allow them, when they learn things, talent and knowledge equals progression and better. And that's what Goody said today to Wildy. Last year wasn't good enough with the old guys, period.
Yeah.
If we brought back all the same old guys, it would stunt the development and growth of these new guys and also still be where we were, which is just, 8-9. And we might be 8-9 again, but we'll be 8-9 on the upswing. We'll be like the Lions are, right? An 8-9 team or a 9-8 team or whatever they were. They're on the upswing, and everybody's talking about them. But all their talent and all their young guys and how they're making plays and they're doing things. They let old guys go too. They let Jamal Williams, who scored the most touchdowns in Lions history in a single season, he's got the record over Barry Sanders. They let him walk. We all know he's not with Barry Sanders. But anyways, and that's what I'm trying to say. And everybody, we have to realize this, Packer fans. We have to realize this is going to be tough. It's going to be hard to watch at times. There will be mistakes. You'll watch a guy drop a ball on a perfect pass. You'll see a guy wide open and Jordan Love will miss it. You'll see Carlson with a field goal, maybe to win the game from 47 yards, and he totally whiffs. It may happen, and it may happen multiple times. But what's the difference between that or watching Mercedes Lewis catch a ball and then fall down right away? What's the difference between that or watching Mason Crosby or watching the Packers have to punt on a 47-yard field goal because they know Mason Crosby have no chance of even getting the ball there because his leg isn't there? What's the difference between that and watching Allen Lazard catch a wide receiver screen and immediately get tackled because he has no speed and nobody's blocking for him? What's the difference between that and watching Billy Turner completely do the Ole move and whiff on a guy and let him run right through you? I'll tell you what the difference is. There's a chance that the receiver will catch, Musgrave will catch the ball down the field. There's a chance that Jordan Love will complete that pass and be accurate. There's a chance that Carlson will hit that 52-yarder down the single, 52-yard field goal down the lane. There's a chance that Zach Tom is going to block that guy all the way for enough time so that Love can get that pass deep to Christian Watson. All those things could possibly happen. But Billy Turner sure as hell can't block that long. Mason Crosby can't kick that far. Mercedes Lewis is going to fall on his face. Allen Lazard has no speed. All those things we know for a fact can't happen. These young guys have the chance to possibly make it happen. And that's why Goody, as the GM, did what he did. So when I hear guys like Wildy and other fans go crazy about, they got no veteran presence in the room. They got no consistency. Listen, I play fantasy football. I've had the Ben Hafeman consistency ratio that I used to use for years and years. I would study. I would spend months and hours and hours and hours studying consistency. This guy scored 12 points, every game, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Should I take the guy who scored 3 touchdowns in one game, but then for 2 games he had no touchdowns, and then the next game he scored 2 touchdowns, the next game he scored 4 touchdowns, and the next game he had none, and the next game he had none, next game he had none? Or should I take a guy like Jarvis Landry, who always has 50 yards receiving and a touchdown? Well, you know what? I made a complete team of all the guys who had the Ben Hafeman consistency ratio. And you know where I finished in that league? Dead last! Dead last, or at least average at best. And I learned from my own mistakes. I thought Ben Hafeman consistency ratio that I came up with, Eckes knows, he was there. I talked about it for years. I thought it was a genius move. Rick was there, he knows. Jason was there, he knows. I talked about Ben Hafeman consistency ratio. I developed my entire fantasy football strategy on that for 2 or 3 years. None of it worked. Because you always have a ceiling. You always have a ceiling, and it's capped. It's capped. And not only that, all those players are more expensive. Now we have a young team who has a chance. They have a chance to do something, and it's exciting again. And that's what we need. We need exciting. And that's why I'm excited to be a Packer fan. So hopefully everybody else that's listening and everybody else that's watching, and tell your friends to check us out, because I'm finally woke up again to freaking realize what the heck I'm talking about. Where for a long time I was yapping and I didn't know what I was saying. This is why. Jason Wildy, shut up. You've been covering the Packers for 30 years. You don't know anything. It's time for new. It's time for exciting. It's time to have no cap on the possibility of what can happen. It could be a mess, but it also could be amazing. And that's what you have to deal with. It's either a mess or amazing. A mess or amazing. But it's way better than, because that's what we've been getting is that what you want? A big fart? No.
It's not even a good fart. That's like a sad fart.
Yeah, you want like a nice.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to get it,
I
make it a big one.
Where's the fart done?
That goes back, just hold it. That goes back to exactly what you're talking about with Sean Clifford. With Aaron Rodgers, he would always play it safe, right? And we knew it. And we knew what the end result was always going to be. So the one thing I hope for Jordan Love is that now there's a lot of expectations on him, pressure on him, all this sort of stuff because he's got to be the guy, his number one pick, all this stuff, and he's taking over. But I want to see him play aggressive. I want to see him, if he makes some mistakes, okay, right? Because like you said, the payoff, the chance of making that play versus just not taking that play is, I want to see him. I want to see him try to make the play and not play risk averse football the same way Aaron Rodgers played for the last several years. It's boring. It's no fun to watch. You always knew what the end result was going to be. And that is one of the reasons it's exciting. The thing I took away from Goody's comments, because that was kind of like Willie's question there, the response you're talking about, because I just listened to it on my way home today from work, was really about how do you balance, like, you know, when you want to win now, like playing these young guys, building with young guys, all this sort of stuff with a young team. And then that's where Goody's response came from. And to me at that moment, it hit me exactly what's going to happen. So mark it down right now. This is Goody's plan. He has a plan. Remember, for years I wondered what the hell the plan was, because you'd sign Zadarius Smith, and he even alluded to that, how the in the kicker replacement, how sometimes if you try to fill a hole, it was the tight end with TD getting hurt. You're like, do you go with these young guys? Do you like what you have, or do you plug in a guy, an old guy? And he's like, at times in the past, I think I've done that, and I think we're getting better at it. Like, you've got to see what you have on your roster. You got to see who can do what. And if you just grab a guy from somewhere else and plug him in, then these guys on your roster don't get to grow and maybe see what they can do.
Yeah, that was in response to Tyler Davis getting hurt. They asked him, like, "Ooh, are you going to go sign a veteran tight end right away?" And blah, blah, blah. Right. And then he was like, "Listen, we got to see what we got. We got some young guys. And in the past, I would have signed a guy right away, and it would have stunted the growth of these young tight ends."
Like, he signed the Smiths, and then he drafted Rashawn Gary. So to me, it was like, in the past, that's where I was always like, what the hell is the plan here? I don't get it. You're doing things that don't make sense together. And then he drafted Jordan Love and had a plan. Then Aaron Rodgers screwed up the plan, because he likes to say he did. And now he's back to his plan. And his plan is this. Mark it down. And this is why. I'll explain it to you real quick. The Packers will not win the Super Bowl this year. They will not win the Super Bowl next year. They'll win the Super Bowl in 2025. Because in 2025, it will be a contract year for most of these young guys that are on the team that are starters already. So they're going to want to play really well and make their big money. And then they will have been able to, and by waiting until 2025, they will have been able to see if Jordan Love can play, pay him appropriately, but not pay him top dollar because he hadn't won a Super Bowl yet. And then he'll win a Super Bowl early on in his contract where he's not making a crap ton of money top of the league, and the Packers will save money that way too. So this is all Goody's plan, you guys. I'm telling you right now. He's got the plan, not this year, not next year, but the following year. Packers win the Super Bowl. They host the draft, and they win the Super Bowl. That's the way it's going to go. And it's all Goody's plan. And when it happens, you can come back to this moment and say, I told you, but you can also go back to Brian Gutekunst and say it was his plan all along. And he is that smart. Impressive to me.
I beg to differ. I think they'll win the Super Bowl next year. And here's why.
Next year already?
How about they
make it, but they don't win it?
No. They'll make it this year.
No,
they won't make it this year. All right,
they'll
make this year. Here's why.
Here's clear. They're not winning the division this year. The Lions are going to win the division. The
I don't know about
Packers finish second. Packers finish second.
This is what's going to happen. This was the Goody plan.
All right.
Remember when the Aaron Rodgers trade went down and Aaron Rodgers had his press conference and he said it was a win-win-win. It was a win for him. It's a win for the Packers. It was a win for the Jets. It was a win-win-win. But in reality, it was a win-win-win in this way. The Packers traded Rodgers, got rid of a giant headache and a pain in the ass. That's win number one.
Straight up.
The Packers got draft picks and stuff in the youth movement to get production and possible good players for the future. That's win number two. And win number three is next year, they're going to have a brand new defensive coordinator because the whole Jets debacle is going to happen. And Robert Saleh is going to get canned because Rodgers is going to blame everybody and his grandma before he blames himself. And then Robert Saleh is going to get canned. And Matt LaFleur is going to sign his best buddy to be the defensive coordinator. And the Packers are going to go to the Super Bowl. That was the plan from the start. Goody knew exactly what he was doing. And I think him and LaFleur and Murphy have been in on this the entire time. They had this plan. We'll send Rodgers to the Jets. Salah got canned. We'll bring him in. he'll run the defense like he runs the Jets and the 49ers defense, and we all know how good that was. And we'll add that to all these developing young players getting together and figuring it out by next season. Woo! Then we're gonna win like 6 Super Bowls, and we'll be the Belichicks. We'll have the guy. We'll have the 6-fingered hand. We'll be the man with the 6 fingers, having 6 rings. That's the Goody move. Goody is way smarter than we all thought he was, or he's a complete moron. But it's a mess.
There's a
or
chance.
It's amazing. It's a mess or it's amazing. That's my new thing. I just came up with that. I don't know where it came from. I love it. A mess or amazing is genius. That's the Packers slogan for this season and moving forward.
Let's hope
as
so.
Packer fans, that's what you got to worry about. Nothing.
So you
just let it go.
You're trying to tell me, and Jordan Love, don't worry about nothing either. Just let's let it go, man. Just play football.
Let it go.
So you're trying to tell me that this whole time Aaron Rodgers thought he was playing the Packers and playing everybody. It's really the Murphy, the genius.
Yeah.
And Murphy would say,
well,
Murphy
screwed it up. Murphy almost screwed it up. Well, if we get our way, he'll be gone, right? He almost screwed it up because they had their way. That was their plan. Now, I feel sorry for Robert Saleh because he's going to get canned as a head coach, but
that's okay. He can spend a couple years with his best friend Matt LaFleur. It's on the team. It's great.
And then he'll get another head coaching. If they'll win the Super Bowl, then he'll get another head coaching job right away.
There you go.
Because people realize, it wasn't Aaron Rodgers that was a problem, or it was the whole team that was the problem. That's the thing. Whenever there's a problem, I don't understand this in this world. Like, there's one consistency through all the years where the team has lost, and it's been Aaron Rodgers. We got rid of McCarthy. Did it get any better? Nah.
Changed.
So this is our
coordinators
chance.
all the time. Yeah, I get it. I love it. And I agree with it. And I think it's all the plan. And I think it's all going to work out. That's great. But I'm sorry, Lee. I cannot take it back. I can't. The Packers are not winning the division this year. It's okay, guys. They're going to finish second, and that's okay because they're still going to make the playoffs. The Vikings are going down, like Ekes pointed out earlier. The Bears maybe a little bit better. Bears a little bit better, but they're not good enough. And so the Packers will finish second. They'll still make the playoffs. It's just that Detroit's too good. Detroit's too good. They're going to do it. They're going to take the division this year and be okay with that. That's okay, guys. It's going to be a fun season. Enjoy it. Not winning the division. Still be fun.
What language is Jonathan creating a new language?
I don't know.
Even Butters, like, is he on something?
I know.
Is he having a stroke?
I hope not.
Has he been into the ayahuasca again?
Jonathan,
I don't know what you're talking about, bro. Start using English.
So a couple other quick things I wanted to follow up with some good comments here that came in a while ago, but I want to get back to them because they were some good. Now David is really hung up on Sean Clifford. Dang it, David loves Sean Clifford. And I got to tell you, I made the Favre comparison last week, and the more I thought about it, I thought he was more like Ryan Fitzpatrick. Ryan Fitzpatrick Jr. Just think that's my Sean Clifford comparison here. And you thought he was more like Don McCarthy.
I think he's more like Magic Man.
Yeah.
I think he's more like Magic Man.
So that brought me to the question, in 2 years, and anybody that's still around, hung on this long and sat with us, in 2 years from now, do you think there's a better chance that Jordan Love is the Packers quarterback or Sean Clifford is the Packers starting quarterback?
I don't know.
Give me your name, Clifford or Love. Who's the starting quarterback for the Packers if it's between those two guys in 2 years from now?
I would probably say neither.
I'm going to say Sean Clifford.
I would like it to be. I don't really care. I mean, if here's the thing: if Jordan Love comes out and plays great, then that's great.
I hope he does.
But Sean Clifford he gives me Magic Man vibes. He gives me. He's not as cool as like Gardner Minshew. I can't give him that. But he just has something about him where he makes plays, and he'll probably screw up too.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. But he seems to know the offense, but yet also have the ability to create when things go out of whack. So there's not many guys that can do both. And we have a lot of quarterbacks that have a lot of talent and a lot of physical athletic ability who don't seem to know their offenses, but they're able to make things happen, like Justin Fields, right? Justin Fields is amazing, makes things happen. He's crazy, but it doesn't lead to wins. And then we have a lot of quarterbacks who know where to go with the ball and are very accurate, like Kirk Cousins, and it doesn't lead to wins. I mean, wins, but not like wins in the playoffs, right? And the weird thing is Sean Clifford is kind of a combination of the two, with a maybe not as talented, but he's young and he has experience and he's kind of good. I mean, I like him, but it's obvious Jordan Love has been waiting a long time. I think the upside of Jordan Love is higher. I think Clifford is kind of what he is, but what he is good enough if you have talent, like physical talent at the skill positions, to win. Like Clifford on a team like this can win. Period.
He's got good pocket presence and he moves around well. I think he moves around better than Jordan Love. Jordan Love's a pretty good athlete, but he's quicker, he's shiftier, he's a little bit better mover in the pocket. And I just think you're right. He's got he doesn't play scared either. And that's what I really want to see from Jordan Love. Like I think right now, and I get why, right?
Yeah.
You're following Aaron Rodgers, you've had all this crap attention on you. I get why you want to really make the safe play, because what was the one thing Aaron Rodgers never did until last year: throw a bunch of picks and dumb throws. So that's the standard that was set. Everybody talks about it, and that if you throw if you have like a 3 interception game, oh man, what's going to happen? What is everybody going to say?
Packer fans will freak out.
Yeah,
Aaron Rodgers never did that. Aaron Rodgers never did that.
Well, actually, he did last year against Detroit, but whatever. It's
right.
fine.
What am I talking about?
but the point is, like, you're just getting started in your career. So I get how that is the case, but that's not going to allow Jordan to reach that ceiling if he plays that way. So I just hope he comes out, and I hope he's got the backing of the team and Matt LaFleur and everybody to say, like, look, you make some mistakes, don't worry about it. Just keep going. I will say this for Sean Clifford. Yeah, he was a draft pick. He was a 5th-round draft pick, but there's no guarantees for a 5th-round draft pick that you're going to make the team. And he just came out and was played like totally free, right? I'm gonna let it rip, and if it's not good enough, it's not good enough, and that's fine. That's how we should all live our lives. Whatever you do in life, for a profession or whatever, like, let it rip, and if it's not good enough or it's not the right match or right fit, fine. It's just not going to work out, and that's okay. So I love that about him.
I mean, it'd be interesting to see if he's the same if he was in Jordan Love's shoes. You know what I mean? Like, if he had all the pressure, can he still play carefree and without any worries and just take shots and do stuff? Like, at this point, he's a 5th-round draft pick. Yeah, but at this point, he has nothing to worry about. Like, he's he's worried about, but it's just like, hey, I got to do what I do. I'm just out here. I'm not even thinking. I mean, I'm reading the defense. I know the offense. I'm just making plays, but there's no pressure on him. Like, if he stinks, people are going to be like, oh, well, he's a 5th-round pick. He'll learn. He's a rookie, blah, blah, blah.
He does have the legend of number 8 to live up to, so don't discredit that now. Anthony Dilweg wore number 8, and he was a quarterback.
He was bad. But that's the only thing I would say.
He spelled Favre right. What the? He spells nothing else right, but he spells goddamn Favre right, which makes no sense the way it's spelled. All right, Jonathan. At least we know you're okay.
I don't know what Jonathan's doing, but it's confusing. But that's okay. At least he's in the comments. Keep giving comments. Give us some likes, people. Give us some comments after the video too. We need more freaking people. I apologize for the beginning of the show. I was kind of half out of it, but I finally woke up. 40 minutes into it. So hey, sorry about that.
I apologize too. I was trying to get some stuff ready. I didn't have time because I had all this other stuff going on. So I tried to throw something. I played the wrong video, and there you go. Anyway, Jordan Love.
Look at that.
Jordan Love.
David says 7 of his last games at Penn State, Clifford came from behind and won. Do you know Kirk Cousins just broke the record for the most come from behind wins in a season with 8? Do you know who had that record with 7 before Kirk Cousins broke it? Who is the quarterback with 7 comeback victories in one season?
Oh, Baker Mayfield?
No.
Come on, not Baker Mayfield.
No.
Well,
7 comeback victories in one season.
I know it wasn't Aaron
of
Rodgers.
16 games. Kirk Cousins had 8 comeback victories in a 17 game
17.
season.
Okay.
So technically, I don't know if he should have the record, but he
That's
does.
true. Am I going way back or what?
I'm just going to tell you, it was a tie. There's more than just this guy. I think there's one other
Sure.
person, quarterback, but there's one for sure I know of.
All right.
So if
do
I
you
know, who do you
for
think
sure?
it is?
Well, it's either a Packer or it's Matt Hasselbeck, or I don't know. That's all I can think.
Anybody in
of
the comments know who's the quarterback?
Don Mikowski.
Don Mikowski.
Jeez. Don Mikowski.
The
for
1989
real?
season, Don Mikowski had 7 come from behind, fourth quarter comebacks,
Pack.
and the Packers were 10-6. So out of their 10 victories, 7 of them were come from behind wins that the Magic Man led.
Dang.
He also led the NFL in passing yards. He was second in passing touchdowns. He was second in MVP voting, right behind Joe Montana, even though he had more touchdowns and more yards than Joe Montana that season. But it was Don Mikowski who had the record that Kirk Cousins broke on a 13-win team. So 8 out of the 13 wins. So not only did Mikowski have only one less win in one less game, he had a higher percentage of the victories were comeback victories out of the 10, 7 out of the 10 on a much worse team than Kirk Cousins. Well, actually, the Vikings last year sucked. They got really lucky. But that's besides the point. They were probably an 8-8 team. But the Packers 10-6 1989 team was probably like a 4-12 team that Magic Man and Sterling Sharp turned into a 10-6 team.
Damn, Sterling Sharp.
So Sterling Sharp should make the damn Hall of Fame already. Let's go. What the hell?
Let's get it.
Idiots.
Oh, done. Him and Holmgren. I know they were in the semifinals group or whatever. Like they should. It's just dumb. They got to be in already. All right.
So that brings me back to the Clifford and
good.
the Magic Man. So
Dang.
and David says 7 of his last games at Penn State, he came from behind victories. That's the Magic Man stat. Sean Clifford is Magic Man in reincarnated, just not as cool. He doesn't play guitar and sing with Poison.
That's how you got to play, and that's how you don't play scared. And you can come back in games if you don't play scared. You can win. You can steal games in the end. You see it all the time, and most of the young quarterbacks in the NFL play that way. You notice that, right? Like, look how crazy some of those games get in the fourth quarter, where they're like, oh, well, now it's crunch time. And then they freaking are throwing it all over the place and scoring like 6 touchdowns, 7 touchdowns between 2 teams in the fourth quarter. They just go back and forth. You know, it's insane. But only the young guys do that for the most part. You never saw one guy do that ever.
Well,
But
actually, here's another stat that I don't know if anybody knows.
A long time ago he did it. But
Aaron Rodgers, I don't know the exact stat. I think it's 31 come from behind victories or fourth quarter comebacks or whatever it is. No, game-winning drives. Was it game-winning drives? No, I think it's fourth quarter comeback. It might be game-winning drives. That's what it is. Game-winning drives. It's 7 game-winning drives for Magic Man, and Kirk Cousins had 8 game-winning drives last year. Which is the same. It come from behind victory is game-winning drives, same thing. Anyways,
it's the same. Magic Man.
So Aaron Rodgers had the most come from behind game-winning drives of his career last season on the Packers.
Wow.
Prior to that, I think it was like 5 or something. But a lot of those were like, Christian Watson being awesome or something like that. It wasn't really him being awesome. But that's the point. But anyway, so I thought that was weird because I looked up Aaron Rodgers' stats after I saw Mikowski had 7 in that one year. I was like, dang. And Rodgers only had like 30 or something his whole career. And Magic Man had 7 in one season. And I was like, wow. And then I saw that last year, Rodgers had like 5 or something like that, which was the most. Otherwise, it was like 3, 2, 1, 0, stuff like that. Like I think 2015 or 2011 was 0 because they just kicked the crap out of everybody.
Yeah. McCarthy Magic that year on offense.
Yeah, something like that.
All right. Todd's had some. Todd keeps bringing up these good ones. And then William G said something too. And David keeps dropping stuff about Sean Clifford. Man, he's got the Sean Clifford knowledge. Way to go, David. Todd says, talking about QBs, how stable will the O-line be to support the QB effort? That is one of the concerns. Again, 2 concerns on the team at this point, primarily safety. Well, 3. Safety, interior offensive line play, and Devontae Wyatt's conditioning. Those are the 3 primary. Well,
and kicker.
Kicker, that's right. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so those are the 4 primary concerns. I got a few things to figure out. But some of those will get straightened out. But the O-line, I mean, look, if Bakhtiari plays and plays well, and they just do what they need to do to get center figured out, they should be okay. The guys are pretty good. They'll be fine. And they have enough talent to other guys to, make plays. The play caller could adjust. You can always do things as a play caller to help out guys that might be struggling or might be weaker in spots. Now, we've seen plenty of other years where they don't actually do that, which made no sense to us, but you'd like to think the coach is smart enough to figure that out. If you got to help guys out by running different plays, you go ahead and do that. So I think we're going to be okay there. And then William G is here, and he was talking about Musgrave. He's excited about Musgrave. Yeah, he's different, man. He's fast. So if he catches the ball, if he's open and catches it, he can do something with it, and he can just keep flying down the field. He's going to be a problem. He's going to draw defenders. Like, I don't know what teams will do if you got him attacking the middle of the field and you got Christian Watson attacking deep. I mean, there should be lots of space for guys underneath then if those two guys are running, because the safety's got to go with one of them, right? So you either are creating a one-on-one matchup for the other one, and or if you got both safeties occupied by those two guys, well, then you got a whole bunch of room underneath to do some good stuff. So I like it. Musgrave's going to be a difference maker in the passing game for sure, and his blocking, like you noted, his blocking is getting better and looking pretty good.
Just going to say, I saw the clip online of that big touchdown pass from Wednesday's practice, and guess who stayed in and blocked on that play to give Jordan Love protection?
That's right.
Luke Musgrave again. So his pass protection is very good, and like I said, when he stays in the pass protect, that safety is not sure what he's going to do, right?
Yep.
Or whoever's supposed to cover him or whatever the case is, they're still looking at him because they're worried about him. And then he stays in. So that takes that safety. Even if he doesn't go out in a route, there's a safety or a linebacker or two worried about him one way or the other, which that opens stuff up for Christian Watson downfield. Either way, just being on the field and the combination of those two speedsters at tight end and wide receiver is what's going to scare defenses. Just having them on the field together. And we haven't had that in ever, since Jordy. But even with Jordy, it was just Jordy who was fast. Like, there was nobody else who was fast on the team.
Yeah.
And now we got, not since 2011 when we had Finley and Jordy out there at the same time. And everybody was like, we scored a crap ton of points and we won 15 games and only lost one. And then we lost the playoffs right away to the Giants because they were dumb. Because we can't remember. I don't want to think about it. But that just shows you speed kills. I believe it was Al Davis. Speed kills. Well, yeah, it kills. Okay, that's not nice to say.
On the football. Well, that was the.
That's also the Raiders.
The big truck that I first learned how to drive stick on out in the pea fields, they had an old sticker on there that said "Speed kills." Now that big ass old truck wasn't gonna ever speed or kill anybody based on speed, but they still had the sticker on it, to remind you as a young person not to drive too fast. And then, but yeah, on the football field it kills too. So all that's good. Yeah, man, there was some. What else happened today? Dang. Lee's wondering about secondary. Okay, Lee, we kind of talked about this. We'll go back to it. So at Valentine, how are we, GM Hafeman Bros, how are we doing the secondary if Valentine is at the boundary cornerback? Well,
I move Rasul.
Yeah, and the number one thing that has to happen is no Eric Stokes.
No Eric Stokes.
No.
It's Valentine, Jair, Keyshawn Nixon. Move Rasul to safety, but let him play more like around the box safety, not deep, and then have Savage deep, I guess, or somebody, or Rudy Ford. I'd rather Rudy Ford back there. Somebody fast. So Rudy Ford or Savage, I don't care, because Rasul can't be back there because he's too slow. But he can be back there sometimes on like two safety deep stuff. The thing about Rasul that stinks is this: he doesn't have speed. So like in practice yesterday, he got beat deep. The other thing is, when he's just playing boundary corner, there are certain plays where he's not part of the play, even though he's a playmaker. And that's why when we put him at the star position, we thought, ooh, that would be great. But the problem is the star position also needs to be able to cover quick, fast guys, which Rasul's not that great at. But we saw last year, I showed video of him covering TJ Hawkinson, and he shut his ass down. He got his hand in there and knocked the ball away twice. One of them was the interception for Savage because he knocked it in the air. So Rasul covering tight ends as a safety, whoo, he ain't gonna get beat by them. He's fast enough to cover that, and he's big enough and tough enough to make a hit, and he's smart enough to watch the quarterback and make a play and get some picks. And if you move him to safety, he's not just out on the boundary and only takes care of this little tiny spot. He's able to roam and move around and make plays moving around. And I think if you had a creative defense coordinator, like next year when we get Robert Saleh after he gets canned by the Jets because of Rodgers, then it would just enhance Rasul at safety and make him a monster, right? And he'd be unstoppable. But I think he is a little gun shy after they moved him to, because he had big talk last summer. Last summer, he was talking about being Defensive Player of the Year when they moved him to the star position. And it didn't happen. It didn't work. He didn't do as good as he thought, though PFF has him rated as a number 9 star position, slot corner in the NFL last season, number 9 ranked, ahead of Jalen Ramsey at number 10. Yet everybody said he sucked last year. Don't know why, but that's fine. But his only weakness at the corner position is getting beat, on a goal route, because he knows how to use the sidelines to help him. He's able to adjust. He can play tight, bump and run on a guy who's slow. He will play off a little bit on a guy who's fast, and then read the quarterback and make a play that way. But sometimes he does get beat if the pressure doesn't get there. But I would say, if you could somehow convince Rasul, hey, like if I was the GM or the defense coordinator, I'd be like, dude, I'm going to move you to safety, and I'm going to give you a little bit of free reign. Just cover this area, right? But if you see something, go for it. And because Savage just stinks anyways, just have him stand back there and clean up the mess, and have Rasul go make plays. Let him be like, like Palomalu, right? Just let him run around, do whatever. If you see something, just go. And if you give him that freedom, I think he's smart enough to really have a huge year. But by putting him at boundary corner, he's good at it, yes. But it takes away half the field for him.
Yeah, limited opportunities and for impact. Yeah. But I think, didn't they have Charles Woodson come in last year? They should have Charles Woodson just come in and talk to him, because Woodson played safety.
Woodson moved,
right? And he did a lot of that move. He wasn't exactly the star. He did kind of, like you said, sometimes he did whatever the hell he wanted.
He did whatever the hell he wanted.
And he was like, I'm going to make a play. So, but then also later in his career, and Rick remembers, he played safety, and he was good at safety too. So come on, man. There's a lot of good things there to talk to him about, to be like, you can extend your career. You don't have to sit here and cover all these little fast guys all the time. You can, if you're going to be in man coverage, it's probably on a tight end or a bigger receiver. So, or a running back or whatever. So it's like, there's a lot of benefits here. You're a good tackler. You're big. You're physical. You're smart. You can be in the middle of the field, like you said, make more plays on balls, because you are aware you're one of the guys who reads the quarterback and adjusts and flows to stuff that a lot of people don't do. I don't know. We've talked about it for years. Well, we definitely talked about it most of all last year too as a possibility.
When we had Amos, it was in Savage 2 years ago. They played okay. Last year was when we really saw a dip in play from Amos, and Savage he is what he is,
Amos
so then that was when we started talking about it, because Rasul wasn't quite there, or just I thought he was good, but he wasn't making the plays that we thought he could make, because he said in his own interviews, he said, when I play that slot, a lot of times because I'm in coverage, they're just running me out of the play. Like they're taking me off the play by having me have to cover a guy. But if you're playing safety, you're not getting run off the play.
Yep.
You're reading. You're usually playing zone most of the time. And if you are playing man, you're covering a line or a tight end or something.
Yeah.
And you're able to adjust and read and react and make hits and do all kinds of stuff. So I don't know. I don't think it's ever going to happen, especially with Joe Barry. I don't think he's creative enough. He's not. He's got 21 years or 22 years of NFL coaching experience. You could never tell me that by looking at what he calls on defense. It seems like he just started calling the plays like 2 years ago, because there's nothing creative and interesting at all. Like the last time I saw a creative play, it was Mike Pettin in the playoffs a couple years back, 3 years back. And
his own defensive players had to tell him what they wanted to do, and now he switched to it.
Yeah.
Just
I don't know. He could be a nice guy.
But
like you said, do we believe all these corners are going to? They are. Yeah, they're pretty. Well,
They do not have big calves.
bigger than mine.
I mean,
Bigger than mine. I have no
well,
calves.
yeah, but I mean, we should get a side by side next time we go to Packers. Well, he won't.
We already got the AJ Dillon me side by side.
Yeah, I know.
A few years
we'll
back.
That.
Okay, I think we're done. 10:30.
We'll get that
we're good.
set up. Butter says, "Hey, man, brother," and appreciate all you guys hanging out, giving your feedback. We know that David's kind of pulling for Sean Clifford, but hopefully Jordan Love does good too, David. I mean, let's just see how it goes. Anyway, I always root for my birthday buddy, Sean Clifford, too. But appreciate you guys being good. It's a big game tomorrow night for fun, for just preseason stuff, but also to watch some of the young guys. There's not too many. There's a lot of things the Packers know in terms of who's going to be on their team. There are some spots up for grabs, and some guys are going to take a step
Safety's
forward
one
tomorrow
of them.
night. Yeah, and some guys will take a step forward tomorrow night, and let's hope it's at those positions that are a little scary, so we start to see some strength coming in there. So we'll see how it goes. Also be interesting to see how they rotate in the offensive linemen tomorrow, just to kind of see who comes in second, where guys go, who's playing late at the end of the game, because those guys are probably going to be cut. So if Royce is in the fourth quarter again, it's probably done. It's probably time you're done, Royce. That's probably how it's going to go. But just a heads up. So enjoy all that. Be good, everybody. Stay good. Take care of yourselves. And enjoy your Packers tomorrow night. We'll catch you later.
Still happy, did I treat you? Got to find that unicorn. I still want you, maybe need you, make you